Hello, everyone. To celebrate Women this Women's Day, ETHR World brings you a week-long celebration where we will acknowledge, applaud, and engage with some of the top women leaders in HR through feature stories and video interview. Today, I have the privilege to share the screen with the first ever woman to become the CEO of an organization in the aviation industry. With more than 30 years of experience in aviation, with national and international exposure, Harpreet A De Singh is the first lady CEO of an airline company, Alliance Airways. Prior to this, she was working as an executive director and chief of flight safety, Air India. Harpreet, it's great to have you here, and I'm so privileged to be talking to you and interviewing you.
Hello, Puja. Lovely talking to you as well.
Thank you. Before we start, I also want to tell our audience that, you have so many achievements, and your achievements further tell us that you've persevered tremendously and succeeded in whatever you've set out for. The prestigious Bharat Nirman Talented Ladies Award in 1995, Outstanding Young Person by International JCs. You've been featured by Limca Book of Records in 2003 as the first women instructor for pilots of Air India. So, whatever you tell us today, it'll be very encouraging and very motivating for us because there is so much to learn from you. The way you've handled your professional career, and you've done things where you did not even have a precedence. You were first in so many things. So you must have had that inner strength in you to be able to do so much. So my first question is very relevant to what we are going through today. It's on the pandemic, the crisis, and its impact on working women and professional women. So my question to you is, we are getting contrasting news from all over the world concerning the impact of pandemic-driven work from home on women employees. Initially, women employees found it challenging to meet the work requirements and take care of responsibilities at home. A large chunk of home responsibilities came into the lap of women. My question to you is, what have you seen in this last 1 year? Based on your organization, do you say that it has become more hard for women? What are the steps that can be taken to overcome this? Because this has become the new normal. Work from home will exist. And so what are the steps that can be taken to help women have a greater professional career in organizations?
Thank you, Puja. And I know this pandemic has been extremely challenging for everyone. But as a woman, I can tell you that it has been easy to take care of it. I know it sounds strange that when I use the word easy, because I think it's all in the mind. Whether you're a man or a woman, and especially with a woman more so, once you have made up your mind, women are very strong by nature. They just need to harness that inner power and that inner strength. If you've decided that come what way, I am going to fulfill my requirements, whether at home, whether at work, it just happens. You just need to believe in yourself and you have to make up your mind. When you start becoming fearful, what happens is that then all those doubts start coming to your mind. Can I do this? Should I do this? You just have to decide. Mujhe karna hi hai. And once you've made up that mind-body control is such that it just makes you do things and then you feel it's so easy to do. Actually, you don't find it challenging anymore. Having said that, I don't want to belittle the stress that certain women may have faced because that is the way I have dealt with it. And I do have empathy for lots of women who struggled, especially at work fronts where they did not get enough support. So I would kind of encourage them and tell them, this is the time you take the opportunity to use your family members to understand the kind of work that you have to put in. Use them to help you out. Make a timetable. We will adjust our work from home timing to support you. Like as good management, we gave them that opening, that window of opportunity that you decide which time, flexible timings, which would suit you. However, take this opportunity to get the workload shared at home as well. And with work at home, you're saving so much of commutation time. In fact, it is the new normal today in a lot of areas where it is possible. It is not possible everywhere because like our pilots have to operate aircraft, our cabin crew have to operate the flights, our engineers have to come and certify. There we don't have much of a scope of flexibility. But in other areas of work, we do have certain flexibility. And as good management, we try to look at that. So what we have to do is strengthen the women, make sure that they are empowered to feel that my management is with me, my home is with me, my support systems are strong. And sometimes we've even spoken to the family members, of the women that came with certain issues. And we have encouraged them and given them that kind of support that they themselves then started supporting their wives or sisters, depending on the relationship. So what I feel is that a pandemic, yes, it has hit us hard, but as human beings, we have always able to overcome this challenge, and more so as women, because as women, we have this innate strength. We go through childbirth, we go through labor pains, we go through so many things without thinking that, oh, this is something that I just cannot handle. You are able to handle everything. So when you think of it in that context, you realize this is nothing. It's easy. As a woman, I'm really capable of doing everything. So it's all in the head, actually, and it's easily possible to do it. This is the way I think about it.
I totally agree with you, Harpreet, when you say that. And I feel women are inherently, they are intuitive and they have that some kind of inner strength, which is like a big guiding light for them. And, I think we all need to look inside for some of the answers and then, we find our way. When I look at you, I feel that you've done so many things at such a early time when probably, we're talking about 1980s. They were not even thinking about careers like pilot and flights and aviation.
That's right.
It was like a absolute, I think doctors and teachers, those kind of professions were still thought about. So from you, I would like to know that it is not only in today's time, it's not only important to hire women, but also to mentor them and retain them and promote them to positions of leadership. Since you started on many first trends, like, first lady pilot selected for Air India, first chief of flight staff in India, now you're the first CEO of a passenger airlines. So where did you get the courage and strength? You tell us, okay, we need courage, we need strength, we need to look inward. But where did you get that courage and strength to achieve what you've achieved, right? From 1980s to 2020, if I talk about 30, 35 years. So how did you get that strength firstly, and how have you cultivated it and, grown it to this level today?
Okay, so when I look back on my journey, I had a lot of times where I was given an obstacle on my path, and I had two choices: either to sit and cry because nothing is going to happen now, or to find a way and cross the path and go around it. And my first onus for this kind of energy or strength comes from my spirituality. To be very frank, I was blessed to be born in a highly spiritual family. And I continued with that tradition where everything was like, if you're pure at heart, give your 100%. Don't worry about the result, like what Gita says in the Holy Gita and all the other religious scripts. Just put in your best and it will just happen correctly. And I think God gives challenges to those who can really overcome. And I faced many of them right from day one. But everything I took it as, oh, now he's giving me one more exam and I'm going to pass it, So I am actually with this little game, and I had my family to back me, of course. And I had this innate energy of going into my inside whenever I was feeling a little depressed and trying to get the answers. And I would look at things. Even when I became a pilot, I used to like the fact that I'm above and looking at things in a detached mode. So, it would look like I'm watching myself in action, like as if there's a drama playing and you're looking at yourself and saying, come on, you can do it, as if there's somebody else telling you that you can do it. And I think that gave me a lot of energy and strength. And I've tried to cultivate that not only in myself. I've always believed that you should be able to share it. You should be able to strengthen others with it. And I've also felt that when energy is positive, when energy is strong, the vibrations that you create around yourself, you motivate so many people around you. And I was fortunate to have been given the charge of a leading women organization called the IWPA, which is the Indian Women Pilot Association, which is a charitable trust started in 1967, which is 50 years ago, more than 50 years. And we eventually, due to the mentorship, because you use the word mentorship, we used to, loan money from our personal savings to just help a woman come up if she really had the courage, the intelligence, the zeal, but she was running in financial trouble. Or we would just mentor them, guide them. And this organization grew over a period of time. And I do admit that it is one of the contributory factors that we have India having the highest percentage of women pilots in the country. And becoming a pilot at that age was very different. There were hardly 2, 3 pilots that we used to hear about. We had Captain Saudamini Deshmukh, and then we had the founders of our IWPA, Rabia Fateh Ali, Mohini Shroff, and Chanda Budapati. And at that time, they just, flew in Bombay Flying Club, and they couldn't make it into an airline. Captain Saudamini could. I could. There were others like me who could. And then I had a disaster. Like after making it to the flying, I lost my medical category. I had to start all over again. So what I'm trying to say is God gives you these challenges, but you have to, live up to it. I remember when I was in Hisar doing my private pilot's license, I was told, "Arey, you're the only lady there. There's not even a toilet over there." I'm talking of so many years ago. And I used to go through the jungle on the moped, just saying my prayers, कि अगर ये गाड़ी अटक गई somewhere, I'm unsafe in an unsafe environment. But my father gave me the courage. My mother gave me the courage. They said, just take God's name and go. That's the philosophy I follow. Even today, when I'm a little stressed out, I have these little stones I keep in front of me. Peace, strength, belief, energy. I've always believed a woman has emotional quotient, which is naturally higher than a man. So you intuitively pick up things. But along with the IQ and the EQ, what has given me the strength is my own thing, which I quote PS strength, PS quotient, which is pure soul quotient. I feel when you're very pure from inside, you're very transparent. You don't have to do bribery, corruption to get where you are. You don't have to pull strings. You don't have to use your womanhood to, play the woman card like, oh, I'm a woman. And, you just do your best and you do it purely. You do it sincerely. Nobody can miss it. It may take a while. It will have its up and down, but people can see the energy. People can see the honesty. People can see the truth flowing out of you. And I think that's what actually builds the strength. And I'm still mentoring a lot of women. We are starting also another organization to support women. And we are also part of the International 99s body. We are part of various agencies like the Aeronautical Society of India. I'm also on the council of that. And we are promoting women everywhere. In fact, I'm telling them, if you have 50% men and 50% women, you should have 50% women in all the jobs as well. So that's our target. But we are there to mentor them. We are there to guide them. And we are there to connect with them and bond with them. I think that's what is important. The PS quotient, pure soul, along with the EQ and the IQ.
Very interesting, PSQ. Good thing to know that pure soul quotient. And I totally agree that, I think only when there is something, if you can remove fear from your life.
Exactly.
And the fear can be removed only if you know that, your intention is 100% there. And then fear can be removed and one can achieve anything. So definitely you've gone through many obstacles and you've had your own mechanism to cope with it. And right. I really respect you for that. But now when you are in a leadership position in your organization, what kind of steps are you taking that the women workers in your organization, you can be proactive and help them out so that they don't need to kind of, fight these kind of battles to come up the ranks or to have a safe career or, to balance and integrate work and personal life. So what are those steps you're taking in your organization? And I would also like to know the number. What is the percentage of women employees you have and what are the long-term strategies you are planning to deploy?
I will be honest with you that we haven't crystallized a 100% plan. We're still in the process of evolving. I took over as CEO in November 2020. So it's been 3 months now. But you're absolutely right that I have it clearly on my agenda. Women empowerment is clearly on my agenda. And we have already looked at flexible timings as an option to women. We've looked at women empowerment through mentorship. That means we have a support team that works around in case somebody has a small baby or they need help of a different nature, giving them adequate offs when they really require it. We are already got an agenda planned for that. We started more open houses, that is one-to-one. Sometimes, I've noticed women are also a little sensitive to the point that they would not like to put it in writing, what trouble they're facing. So I have started an open house system where people can even directly talk to me. Like if there's something really bothering them and their layers of management on the top have not given them a patient hearing or have not heard them out, then I have opened an open house cell where I get the males in confidence to me, and I slot a time and I talk to them personally. And I use the same energy and try to find how I can help them. Because I feel as human beings, we have to synergize. We have to find ways to help our people. And if somebody is resigning, I keep telling them, why is somebody resigning? Why does somebody want such long leave? Talk to them, find out what's going on in their lives. Because if you want a good, productive response at work, they need to be happy people. We need happiness. We need people who want to do well,
To this, I'd like to ask you one question. How open are women to discuss their problems with their seniors and managers and in the organization? Because, again, here, if the problem is personal, if the problem is, let's say, related to mental ill health or some kind of psychological problems that you're having, I mean, is this stigma getting lessened day by day? Are women okay to come up and talk to you or their leaders about their problems?
So I've always believed in an open environment, and I feel wherever I feel that the person is not getting that comfort level by talking to their own boss or to their boss's boss. That is why I made that mechanism of open houses, and open houses in groups as well as open houses as individuals. And I've already seen in the last 3 months that some people have already come and met me and explained their concerns. Some of them may be purely work related, but many times it is well beyond the work. And I keep asking, I can be intuitive enough to see it on their face that they're not saying something. And then I'll just edge them on. Don't worry, right now I'm not a CEO. I'm just a human being talking to another human being. The moment I say that, the ice is broken. And I genuinely believe in it. CEO, I'm just playing a part of a big drama, like life is like a drama. You're on a stage and you're performing. The person who opens the gate for me at the security, he is equal to me in every way. He's just playing his role. I'm playing my role. It is how well you play the role. And if you have an open way of talking to people, they do open up. I haven't experienced anybody who's personally spoken to me and not opened up. That's never happened.
That's very interesting. And I really like the analogy you've drawn that the person at the gate is also doing his work, you're also doing your work. It's not that his work is inferior or our work is superior.
Absolutely.
It's a very interesting thought. And this is the kind of equality that we want in organizations.
Right.
So, here this question comes to you because you're the CEO, and a CHRO or a human resource department is the one that's supposed to be the caretaker for, talent and people. So, but today more than ever, since talent is at the heart of everything that's happening in an organization, it is equally important for a CEO to be aware of what are the kind of opportunities, what is the kind of employee experience you're creating. So what would your thought be? How much a CEO needs to pay attention to employee practices, experiences, well-being, how important it is for a CEO to pay attention?
Extremely important. Because I really feel you cannot do well as a company without a good team. And team clearly means together everyone achieves more. And unless each person really feels involved with what he's doing or she is doing passionately, only then you're going to do well. So I think it's really important for the CEO to know what's happening in the front line, what's happening at the ground level, what's happening at the middle management level. You have to give enough time for that also, if you really want to know what's going on. Because at times, your top level of management gives you their impression of what should be done, which of course is valuable. But sometimes they don't tell you the little things which are really important to some of the employees who are not happy, or who are not able to do justice to their function, or they have good ideas which are being ignored. So I also have this in my agenda plan. We open something called quality volunteers, which means that they give out of the box suggestions directly to the CEO. That means we have an input coming from the front line, which probably the middle management or the top management has missed. They have a good suggestion because they are the ones who do that job. So if you don't pay attention to the person who's actually delivering that task, you're missing out on something really, really strong. So I am a great believer in people, in the strength of people, and especially in the strength of women, because women really give you that intuitive understanding of how to deal with a situation, how to manage their time effectively, with nothing, no offense meant to men, but I think women are just naturally, and the way they manage their time, because they may leave at 5 p.m. sharp, but that's because they've completed all their tasks, because they know they have to get home and do something. There's a study which has been done on that,
Yeah, I agree.
So you may feel he's not sitting late. Just because somebody is sitting late doesn't mean he's not, he's delivered much more than a person who left on time. The person who left on time, as long as they've completed their tasks, fine, you're free to go, enjoy life. It's also important to enjoy. It's important to have fun and laughter. And that's why in my company, what I'm planning to do, which I've already initiated, I attended the Prabal training, which is organized with the MOCA and the CISF, which was team building through leadership. We did army style training. Okay. Where I became a follower, I said, okay, the person who's leading on the hill, I'll be the last person, because it's important to have leadership and followership qualities. And in a team, you'll always find somebody is very good at something. Somebody else is very good at something else. Everybody is unique. Everybody has that special contribution. But to understand where to tap it and how to get it is where the CEO's role fits in. How to mix and match so that you get finally a good product and happy people delivering a good product. I always told my corporate communication office, Alliance Air for me is alliance of the hearts. We are not only connecting India, we are connecting people. And everywhere, if you see our recent promos, we have been using the word alliance of hearts because we connect as people. Maybe that's the way I am from inside. So I actually feel that.
Very interesting. What is your leadership style? What kind of leader do you think you are, and what's the USP of your leadership style?
Okay, so I don't have a conscious answer to this. I just go with the flow. I think I'm a human being doing a job and I have to deliver results. That's one thing for sure. Everything has to have a system in place, an organization in place, but with a touch of innocence, of the spirit, of the purity, so that you work at all dimensions. You look at your corporate social responsibility functions. Like recently, we were the first airline after so many years of HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics, having developed their own Dornier aircraft. Nobody had purchased it except the forces. So we are the first civilian airline to sign off. It shows a leadership style.
Harpreet, tell me, what are some of the best practices you're initiating in your organization to integrate work-life balance? And there is a lot of talk about, work-life balances. Men require a different string of activities, whereas women require a different kind of activities, when we talk about work-life integration. So what are some of the things you're initiating in your organization?
So firstly, we are initiating a lot of teamwork, team building kind of exercises, fun things. I feel when people are joyful from inside, the tensions go away, they work better, they are healthy, they discuss problems openly, transparently. And I've always believed that people waste a lot of time when they don't discuss the real root cause of a problem. So they keep going around and around it rather than just saying, this is the issue, so that we can fix it. So honesty, is the best policy, is something which we want to develop. And when everybody and work values, when you do everything joyfully, your work and life, you don't think about it as work and life. You don't make those compartments because you do everything joyfully. When you're at home, you're joyful and you're equally inclusive of the work life. And when you're at life, you're also joyful because people are discussing their family also along. They're doing the jobs, but they're also discussing, Aaj mere ghar mein ye hua tha, so let's celebrate. You know, what I'm trying to say is it is when we compartmentalize that we make these distinctions. If you take the whole organization as a family, the family itself is nurturing in nature. Like I've always believed that walk the talk. As a good leader, you yourself encourage people to, you know, participate, to talk about everything, share, you know, have more yoga, you know, do some playful games which you can entertain each other with in your spare times, in your break, interact, teamwork. This is the main message I would like to share. And I think a good organization where you have all this bonding, where you have purity, love, you will have ethics in place, you will have a good leadership in place, and people feel that they can open the door and share their problems with you. And that's what is going to give you the correct turnaround. You know, you can easily balance both. It's not difficult. Just now, my colleague is telling me, you know, I'm going to leave after this because my daughter is ill. So I said, yeah, go. I mean, there are no questions asked because there's a trust. And that trust comes when you share with people. You know, it is a mistrust which causes problems. When you trust, people also trust you and they will give everything to their job. And especially women by nature are actually quite open-hearted and trusting. Like, you know, you just need to get that, invoke that spirit. So I'm also introducing a lot of yoga and meditation in the breaks, and also introducing games, like I told you, where they interact. So let there be fun, let there be purity along with the work, and you will not have these compartments anymore. For me, it's not a compartment. It's we are as a big family together.
Amazing. Or just one last thing, in just one sentence, what would your advice be to all women who are looking to establish a career in fields which are male dominated fields, like for example, STEM, aeronautics, aviation? One sentence, what would your advice be to them?
I've truly believed in Bhartiya Nari Ki Udan Shakti. In fact, we had constituted some awards also for that. And I think anything that you can name it, just Google it and say, I can do this. Because today, women really can do it. And there are enough women to support you as well. If you have a problem, reach out to us. We will help you. Because I think today, those days are gone. There's no barrier anymore. I mean, it's just in the mind. If there's a barrier, it's in the mind. Nowhere else. It doesn't exist.
Thank you, Harpreet. It's been amazing. I've had so much to learn from you. I'm sure all the viewers who will be looking at this interview will have really great takeaways from this. And I'm really amazed the way you've kept yourself relevant. Until date, you are learning and achieving more. So I would like to tell the viewers that recently you also bagged a doctorate degree, and you also got an award along with it as Business Women of Nation Award. So it's really you've been a dynamic person right from your 80s and 90s to 2020, and you still have a long way to go. And I'm sure you will help many women in this journey so that they can also live up to their potential and expand their potentials. Thank you for having.
I'm always there to help.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.